Hello CraftDee Family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY project, we'll be creating 4 Christmas and holiday themed DIYs that are fun and easy to make. Now to all my subscribers and visitors today, I wanted to say hey and let you know that today's video is a little different and I have something really exciting to share with you all. But first, we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into that first project. Now this first project is a wood plank tree decor. Now for this project we will need some pieces of scrap wood or wood planks. We'll need some of this berry garland from the Dollar Tree, and we'll also need some jute twine. Now the first thing we're going to do is cut 3 pieces of wood to 12 inches, and I'm using pieces of a 1x4x8 from the Home Depot. Now if you don't have a means to cut the wood, most Home Depot stores will do this for you. Now if you want to use a Dollar Tree alternative, you can use the wood tumbling tower blocks by adhering them all together, and to make the size of the plank you'll need 36 blocks. So the next thing we're going to do is stain our planks, and I'm going to use my favorite Jacobian stain by Minwax. Now you can also use diluted acrylic paint applied with a cloth. You can achieve the same look. Now what you want to do is you want to stain the front, the sides, and each end of all the wood planks. Now once all the pieces are stained, you just want to sit them to the side to completely dry. And now that they're dry, we can start to decorate our planks. Now I'm going to be using this white marker pen from the Dollar Tree to draw out our tree design on each piece. Now this first tree is going to be a tall and skinny tree with lots of little wispy branches. Now this second tree is going to be a fuller tree, and it's going to have several tiered layers. Now this third tree will be a triangular tree with lots of fun dots, and I'm just going to use my ruler to make the triangle nice and even. Now to add the trees to the planks, I will be using some white acrylic paint and a fine tipped paint brush. Now for this tall tree, I'm going to start by adding the long trunk base first. And then I'm going to start adding in those wispy branches on both sides. You could just have fun with this. And here is what it will look like when it's completed. Now you want to repeat this process for the next 2 trees, and you want to let them completely dry. Now to embellish our planks, I'm going to use this wired berry garland, and I'm also going to use some jute twine. Now all we need to do is we're just going to wrap that garland around the top of each plank, and we want to do this about 4 or 5 times. Now once it looks the way you want it, just go ahead and clip the ends, and since it's wire, you could just twist it together to secure it. So then you can go ahead and then repeat this for your other 2 planks. Now I decided to mix my finishes, and I ended up making one wrapped with twine, but you can finish these however you like. Now just tie those ends together, and there you go. Your set of 3 planks is completed. And here is the set on display. Now I absolutely love how they turned out. Now I think that the rich wood color paired with the twine and berries really looks high end, and no one would guess that you can make it for less than $3. You guys have to let me know what you think of this project in the comments below. Now I wanted to take a moment to mention that this video is part of the Christmas Friend Friday Hop hosted by Heidi Sonboul DIY. Now I've joined this awesome collaboration with all of these super talented YouTube crafters, and each channel will be linked to the next person in the hop in the description box, and it will cycle around to each crafter participating in this collaboration. Now I mentioned at the beginning of this video that there's some exciting news, and that is there will be a giveaway with this collaboration. So we're going to be giving away these awesome gift cards. You just want to make sure you leave a comment on each video along the way to be entered into the giveaway. So now we're going to move on to project 2. And this will be a joy sign. Now for this project, we will need 2 long signs from the Dollar Tree, and you can use any signs that you may have on hand. We'll also need some of these branch garland. Now the first thing we're going to do is to take the 2 signs, and we want to remove any embellishments if they have them. Then go ahead and remove any hangers and the staples from the back. So now we're going to be joining these together, and the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure we flip them over where the printed side is facing you. You want to push them closely together. So to join them together, you can use craft sticks, but I'm going to use some of these leftover paint sticks to join my signs together. And you want to start by adding some hot glue to the middle stick and then apply it down that center seam. Now you do want to make sure that you're pressing the boards tightly together to avoid any gaps in the center. Now once that's in place, go ahead and take your 1 gallon stir sticks and you want to apply 1 to each side. So once everything dries, you have your board ready to use. So now we can go ahead and paint the board, and I will be using this white chalk paint. Now you just want to apply 1 nice coat of the paint, and I'm just applying it to the board, and I'm just going to spread it out evenly. And then once it's applied, let it dry completely. Now once it's dry, go ahead and grab your ruler, and what we're going to do is we are going to start making lines for our planks. Now we're going to end up with 4 planks, so we're just going to start by marking the center point of each one of those individual boards. And then just connect those dots and mark your lines with a pencil. Now you want to repeat this process until you have marked all 4 of your planks. Now to paint the planks, we'll be using this elephant gray acrylic paint. Now I'm just going to mark it with the fine tipped paintbrush. Now there's no need to make these perfect since the look of old boards is really never perfect. And here are all of our lines completely marked. So now I'm just going to take a chip brush, and what we'll do is dry brush that same paint onto the board to give it a weathered look. Now you just want to lightly apply the strokes going along with the grain. And then you can add any accents that you like, and if you want to add knots, you can just twist your brush in a circle. And here is what the board looks like up close. So now that the board is dry, we can decorate it. Now I wanted this to say joy, so I printed out a J and a Y using Microsoft Word, and I flipped the letters backwards. Now the reason for this is that I'll be tracing an outline of the letters onto the board with the ink side down, and the ink outline will transfer onto the board. Now I use Bell MT font in size 285, and I also provide the letters flipped in a PDF in the description box below if you would like to use them. Now all you want to do is align your letters, and you want to tape them into place on the board. Then all you do is take a pen, or you can use an embossing tool from the Dollar Tree and trace the outline of those letters. And here you can see that the outline was transferred to the board. And then you just transfer this for the J. So now we can paint our letters, and I will be using this Cardinal Crimson Red acrylic paint again. Now with a fine tip paintbrush, you want to start by painting the outline of the letters. And then just go back and fill them all in. Now you just want to use a couple of coats and then let them completely dry. Now before adding the wreath, we will work on the back of our sign. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love to finish my work, including the back. So to do this, I'll be using some craft paper. Now, all you want to do is just apply hot glue to the back end sections, and then you want to start to apply your paper. Now, you just want to put it on, and you want to smooth it out as you go. Now I believe that this finish gives it a professional look and it makes it perfect for gift giving. Now once all your craft paper is applied, go ahead, flip it over and grab your X-Acto knife. What you want to do is just trim off all of the excess paper around the edges. So now it's all nice and neat. Now to hang the piece, I will be using a piece of thick jute string with knotted ends. Now in order for the string to be attached to the board and not just the paper, what I'm going to do is just cut a small portion of the paper off where you'll be gluing that string in place. Then just go ahead and apply hot glue in those places where you cut and press your string right on top. Then to cover those knots, I'll take a piece of that scrap paper and I'm going to hot glue it over those knots. And now the back of your board has a very nice and clean look. So now we're going to work on the wreath, and I am taking some pieces of branch garland that I have lightly sprayed with spray paint to give it a frosted look. Now if you have multiple pieces like I do, just entwine them together to form a solid wreath shape. And once it's shaped like you like, you can go ahead and hot glue the wreath onto the board, or you can use a command hook if you want your wreath to be interchangeable. And now to finish it off, you're just going to add a bow to the center with a dab of hot glue. And now your joy sign is ready to hang. And here it is. I am so thrilled about how this turned out. Now the look of the wreath and the pop of the red color is a perfect complement to the lettering. Now this was so much fun to make, and I hope that you all give it a try. It's super easy. Now I really hope that you are enjoying these crafts so far, and I just wanted to pop in and let you know that you can follow me on all these platforms below as She So Crafty. So now let's get back to those DIY projects. And we'll be working on a Believe wood display. Now for this project, I'm going to be using this scrap of wood that is 17 inches by 6 inches. Now the first thing we're going to do is cut 2-inch slices and then cut 2 pieces at 3.5 inches tall, 3 pieces at 4.5 inches tall, and 2 pieces at 6 inches tall. Now if you want to use a Dollar Tree alternative, you can certainly use those wood tumbling tower blocks by adhering them together. And for the 6-inch piece, you will need 9 blocks. For the 4.5-inch piece, you'll need 7 or 8 blocks. And for the 3.5-inch piece, you'll need 6 blocks. So now what we're going to do is take all of our blocks and we want to lay them out to be painted, and we will be using that cardinal red acrylic paint again for this project. Now all we're going to do here is we're going to apply one nice coat of that paint to all the sides of the blocks, and you do want to let them dry completely. Now once all the blocks are dry, we're going to add a distressed look, and we will be using a pavement gray acrylic color. So then we're going to take our chip brush, and what we're going to do is dry brush that color on, and we want to do this around the edges and also lightly on the face. Now dry brushing is just lightly stroking it and giving it that aged worn look. Now once these are all dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some sandpaper and we're going to sand those edges down to have that worn, weathered look, bringing some of that natural wood color through. And here's what they will look like. So next what we're going to do is we're going to organize the pieces in the order that we want our word to be spelled out, and we will be spelling out believe. And then I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to write out the letters. Now I'm just going to write a very tall, skinny type font for my lettering. And then I'm going to take that white marker again and I'm going to trace over those letters so we can see them just a little bit better. So now I'll take my acrylic paint and I'm going to paint over the letters on these blocks. Now I'm just going to use a fine tip brush to do this. And here are all of my letters painted. Now I did think that these looked great, but I really wanted them to be a bit bolder. So my paint pen was MIA, so I used my chalk pen to go over the letters so they would stand out a little better. And I'm just going to go over the letters over that paint with this chalk pen. I think this chisel tip makes a huge difference. I love it so much more. And now all you have to do is place these on display in your favorite location. Now I really love the distressed look on these, and they really do look high-end. Now I did salvage this wood from a scrap pile, so that makes this even better. Now I believe that you will have fun making these too. Now project number 4 is a pair of decorated galvanized style bells. Now for this project, we'll start with 2 of these bells from the Dollar Tree, some mini pine cones from the Dollar Tree. We'll also need some greenery. I had these on hand, and some ribbon of your choice. Now the first thing we're going to do is remove all of the bows and the greenery from both of the bells. Now I wanted these to have a silver tone, so I'm going to paint a coat of this brilliant silver spray paint by Krylon on the bells inside and out. And now that the bells are dry, we can paint them with a galvanized look. So to do this, I'm going to use some white acrylic paint and some pavement gray acrylic paint. Now with a small brush, I'm just going to start applying that gray paint by tapping the side of the brush on the bell. And then I'm going to follow up by tapping some of that white acrylic paint on next. And here's what it looks like so far. Now to blend in the 2 layers, I'm going to mix the gray and the white together, and I'm going to dab this on with a small chip brush. And you want to repeat the process until both bells are complete and let them sit to dry. Now to seal in that finish, we're going to be using this matte Mod Podge, and I picked up this bottle from the Dollar Tree. You just want to apply 1 coat of that Mod Podge to the entire outside of the bells. And now that they're completely dry, we can decorate them. So just go ahead and grab all of your trimmings, and I have some greenery, some berry garland, and some mini pine cones. Now we're going to start with the greenery, and all you have to do is insert that stem into that little hole at the top of the bell, and then just trim it down to fit. And then I'm going to add some of that berry garland, and I'm kind of going to intertwine it with that greenery. And then just start to add a dab of hot glue in areas where you would like to add your pine cones. Now at the top of my bells, I will be using this checkered ribbon, and I'm just going to tie it into a simple bow. And to hang the bells, I will use some jute twine, and I like to seal the end of it with hot glue to help thread it through small holes at the top of each bell. Now once each one of the bells is looped on, I'm just going to go ahead and trim those strings down. Now I wanted my bells to hang staggered, so I'm just arranging them in that fashion and then tying a knot at the top and trimming it down. And then as a final touch, I'm going to hot glue that ribbon, and I'm going to hot glue one to each of the bells. And then we can trim those tails of the ribbon to fit. And now these are ready to go. Now you can hang these up and enjoy your beautiful creation. Now I love the simplistic look of these and the subtle touch of holiday decor. I mean, whether you display these on their own or with a wreath, they would make a beautiful addition to your home. Now you all have to let me know which one of these projects was your favorite today. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty on social media for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Be sure to check out the next video in this Friend Friday Hop listed in the description box below, and don't forget to comment on each video in this collab to enter that giveaway. Now to make sure you don't miss my next video, make sure you're subscribed and you hit that bell. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.